What's up? I am back, Justin here, and it's been a while. And I know I keep saying that every video, but man, life has just been in the way lately of me doing this, me doing lots of stuff in my spare time. You'll remember a couple of videos ago, I was sick. I ended up being sick for a month. Just nasty chest infection, sinus shit. And then my kid got sick, and he developed pneumonia. So there was a whole, week there. My wife home with him, and I was taking care of him at night. It was stressful. It included an ambulance ride and 911 one night, and it wasn't fun. And then just work's been busy. Now, as of today, my wife is sick. So it's just the weather and fucking everything just fucking piling up against us. But as of today, I'm going to be home alone for a week. I've got to work every day, but at night, I don't have any other commitments right now. So I'm going to try to do some videos and get a lot of stuff done that I need to do. Anyway, we're going to get back into the collection. I'm going to keep doing collection videos for a little while because I don't have a lot of new stuff to talk about. And, however, I stumbled upon some Holy Grail type shit the other day. That kind of was in my backyard and fell in my lap. And I'll talk about that really soon. But we're going to get into the collection. We are still in the eyes. But first, we are listening to Avulsion with Dimensions of Darkness. Avulsion is a local Atlanta band. They existed late 90s to about 2004 or so. If any of you are familiar with Deathgasm Records, Evan behind Deathgasm, this was his band, he was the singer, and they are just a crushing 90s era death doom band. And they did what so many bands today are trying to do. They did it so well, and they got no accolades. I got to see Avulsion play in 2000. I think they opened for Monstrosity here in Atlanta on the In Dark Purity tour, and it was fucking sick. And I really enjoyed watching them, and I kind of kept up with them from there, and then they broke up, and I've always been a big fan of Deathgasm. But 2 weeks ago, we had a fest here in Atlanta, the Mass Destruction Fest. It was the second year. Good buddy of mine, two good friends of mine are behind it, and Avulsion reformed and played their first show in 12 years. And they fucking blew me away. They were so heavy and so tight, and just, I mean, just the essence of fucking death metal to me. So, after their set, I picked up Dimensions of Darkness, which is their first full-length / demo. This is a re-release. Came out on Solar Razor Records. I'm not sure how long ago. I'll have to look it up. And I also picked up the re-release of the other full-length, Indoctrination into the Cult of Death. I'll talk about this in a new stuff video when I have more shit to talk about. But Avulsion fucking rules. Just crushing death metal. If you like that kind of shit, get into it. So, first up, we're in the eyes. We've got Iljarn. And I talked about Iljarn at length several videos ago. I was listening to them. Ben Smasher talked about them several videos ago, and it prompted me to pull it off the shelf. This is Forest Poetry. I don't know where this version ranks in the different releases of this, but this was on Northern Heritage, and it has 34 tracks on it. And Iljarn is just fucking, just nasty, raw black metal. I mean, it is just, it's chaos, but it's not like war metal. It's completely different. But it's fucking killer. So then we have Ilsa with Tootsie Egg, Colore del Buo. Ilsa is a sludgy doom band, I guess. They're from the Baltimore area, I think. And this was given to me either in a trade from Dark Descent or someone gave this to me. I've never listened to it. I'm not sure. I've never listened to Ilsa at all. But I don't know if this will show up, but if you look in their logo right there, You see that the white print inside their logo? It's the E and the L from the template that this was laid out on that says front panel. Or somehow whoever printed this didn't remove the template correctly. Anyway, that's just graphic designer nerd shit. Then we have Immortal with Diabolical Full Moon Mysticism. I love Immortal. This version, I only have the booklet. I don't have a J card or a tray card for it. And what I want to say is that I bought a copy of this years and years ago, and my copy had 2 booklets in it. So I had 2 of them on the shelf, and then I sold the one that had the tray card and kept this with a burned CD in it. So it's not really like an official, it's half official Diabolical Full Moon Mysticism. I love Old Immortal, this record, and especially Pure Holocaust. Pure Holocaust is just the coldest, iciest fucking black metal record to me. And I know a lot of people swear by Battles in the North, and it's, to me, I just haven't heard Battles in the North enough. But Pure Holocaust is where it's at for me. I love Old Immortal. The other day, it was raining and nasty outside, and I put this on and listened to it really loud, and it was fucking great. But it's the only Immortal CD I own. And then I have Pure Holocaust on vinyl, which I talked about several videos ago. Next, one of my favorite death metal bands, as should be yours, Immolation. So, I have on CD, Here and After, which we'll talk about in a second, Atonement, the most recent one, and Unholy Cult. So, I got into Immolation in the late 90s. I knew their name. I had never heard them, and then I saw them on the Failures for Gods tour in 1999, which was cool because Bob Vigno was playing guitar, of course, but the rhythm guitar player on that tour was John McEntee from Incantation. So it was really cool to see John McEntee play the really technical, dissonant, skronky style of death metal that Immolation play when he's such a more brutal, kind of eerie, dissonant player. Anyway, I saw Immolation on the Failures for Gods tour, and they were fucking sick. And to this day, they were one of the loudest bands I've ever seen in my life. I've always kicked myself for not buying a t-shirt because the shirts were expensive. They were like $30 that night. But shirts from that era of their band go for so much money now. And not because I would want one so I could sell it. I want one because I want one and I don't want to have to pay for one now. Does that make sense? Anyway, somewhere in the next couple of years, I picked up Here and After. And what it was is a friend of mine had it, and I borrowed it from him and never gave it back. And I don't think he liked it enough to ever bother me about getting it back. But when I put Here and After on, I knew that this band is something different. And it took me years to wrap my head around the kind of murky production of this record. But I would listen to it and say, you know, I can't hear what's going on enough. And that was my problem with Incantation when I first started listening to them. It was too murky. But I would listen to Here and After off and on. And I really liked all the dissonance to it and the pinch harmonics. I love Ross Dolan's vocals. But somewhere around 2006 or 7, I sold my copy that I had pilfered from my friend on eBay. I did a big CD purge and sold a bunch of CDs, like 100 CDs, and I wish I had never done it. But down the line, several years later, I was like, why did I fucking get rid of that? So I bought another copy and really started to appreciate it about 10 years ago. Like, I got to the point listening to death metal with that kind of murky production, and that's what I like now. That Here and After is just fucking perfect. And I know a lot of people swear by Failures for Gods and Close to a World Below, and I think they really tightened up what they did then, but man, Here and After is where it's at for me. So, I did not buy another Immolation CD for a really, really, really long time. And I have Close to a World Below on vinyl that I won like a lot of records. Not a multitude, but a lot. When you buy several things at once, it's called a lot. I bought a lot for something else, but Close to a World Below was in it, so I got Close to a World Below. I bought Unholy Cult randomly off someone selling cheap CDs on Facebook one day. He posted a bunch of pictures of $5 CDs, and it was a bunch of like 90s stuff, like some Cannibal Corpse stuff and Broken Hope. And I picked up Unholy Cult. And Unholy Cult is great. I mean, it's really like, to me, it sounds like where Here and After was going, and Close to a World Below, and Failures for Gods was going. It's great. I don't listen to this one a lot. I always go for Here and After. Or my second favorite, I don't own a copy of it, is Failures for Gods. I need to, you know, get off my ass and buy a copy. I'm bad about not thinking, let me go buy an Immolation CD. But if I see one in front of me, I'll snag it. Anyway, so I saw them in 1999 and did not see them again until last year. So like 17 years went by and I didn't see Immolation. But I saw them on the tour for Atonement. And I had already listened to some tracks off of this before it came out and was like, man, this shit's good. I didn't like Providence, and I didn't like Majesty and Decay, and I didn't like the other one that was in there somewhere. They all sounded a little too clean to me, a little too modern in the production, a little too samey, and they had kind of fallen into doing the same thing over and over again. But then Atonement just, it got me, it hooked me, and it's fucking killer. I feel like Immolation for a few years had kind of fallen into a rut doing the same thing over and over again, but they came out of it with Atonement. It fucking rules. The first Avulsion CD ended, so now we're listening to the full length. So, next, I have Impaled, The Dead Shall Dead Remain. I remember when this came out, and I kept seeing it everywhere, like they were all over Metal Maniacs, and, you know, Terrorizer and all these magazines, and I kept saying, man, yeah, that cover looks awesome, and I really like this kind of gory, kind of gore and roll style of death metal, but I never bought it, and I ended up seeing Impaled one night, and they were great. I mean, they, you know, Carcass light, and I enjoyed it, and then finally one day, I was in some record store, and I picked this up. But it doesn't have a fucking tray card. And I don't remember if I didn't notice that, or if I did and said fuck it. It was probably like $3. But I like the center label of the CD. It says fuck off. You see the X written on it? It's probably a promo, and that's how I ended up with it. But it's good, man. I mean, Impaled, I have not listened to a single thing from Impaled past this. They were kind of like Exhumed Jr. to me. But it was good. I might have to put this on soon. I haven't heard it in years. Then we have Impious Havoc with At the Ruins of the Holy Kingdom. It's a black metal band. This came out on Total Holocaust, who I've talked about a bunch, and I probably got this, you know, in a trade or like a gift box from Total Holocaust way back in the day when my early band did a release with them. I don't remember a lot about this, but I remember it being solid black metal. I need to throw this in and get reacquainted. I remember a buddy of mine really, really liking this band. To the point where, like, an album after that, they couldn't find a label, and he had brainstormed putting it out himself. So, next we have the fucking Godfathers. Impetigo. You owe a lot to Impetigo. My introduction to them was the Wizards of Gore compilation that Necropolis put out. Did Death Vomit put it out, or was it Necropolis? I don't remember. Ben knows. But so I knew who Impetigo was. That was around 2000, somewhere in there. And I knew they're this old kind of gore grind band that obviously people worship because they've done, you know, this tribute to them. Then, about 12 years ago, I became buddies with Billy from Razorback. And this is one of Billy's favorite bands of all time. And he put out both of these reissues of their albums. And I picked them up along the way somewhere. But man, Impetigo laid the groundwork for Carcass. And in bands like Impaled and Exhumed and all these gore grind horror themed bands, and they started as just kind of like not a metal band. They are like this crazy weird like late night cable access themed, you know, jam band, and it turned into what is gore grind. But this shit fucking rules. Songs like I Work for the Street Cleaner and fucking Boneyard, Defiling the Grave, Staff Terrorist. You can't go wrong with this shit. It fucking rules. Then we have... This is funny. I have 3 CDs that are all severed records. So, first is Imposer. And that's a cool fucking name. I've always liked that name. Imposer is a death metal band, and I think they're kind of like South American, wild, crazy, chaotic death metal. I got this on a trade from Severed a long time ago, and I think I've listened to it a couple times, but I don't remember enough about it. I'll have to throw it on and listen to it again. Then we have Imprecatory, like imprecation, but imprecatory, with Mortal Intestines Decay. And I think these guys are from Singapore or Indonesia, and it is super fucking brutal slammy death metal. Super gurgly, down-tuned, just pingy snare, blasty death metal, and it rules. Then we have Impurity with Of Lust and War. So, I don't think this is the... No, this isn't the one. So, Impurity is a death metal band. They were from Florida. And I want to say they kind of play Floridian-style death metal. This was recorded at Diet of Worms. But I have a friend named Ed who lives in Florida who was the vocalist of this band, I believe, before this record. And I didn't know that until very recently. Anyway, this is another one, just like that Imposer record, that kind of got lost in the shuffle for me about 10 years ago when it came out. And I don't know what year this actually came out. It was recorded in 07, so I mean, probably 10 years ago. And I need to also get reacquainted with it. So that's it for this stack. I'm going to try my best this week to do several videos and get some more content out there. But let's talk about these. Let's get reacquainted. I haven't talked to you guys in a while. I want to chat. I want to talk about metal. And I'll talk to you guys later.